Welcome everyone to our live walkthrough. I'm joined by Mia, who's on our team helping with basically everything. Okay, so reports and GIS research and ADUs and obviously sales and marketing. So say hi.
Hey everyone.
Awesome. So, all right. So how we're going to do this is essentially, I wanted to do a walkthrough with our brokerage deck, and what that is what we've been sharing to management at different commercial brokerages, right? So it's not any surprise that we have users from CBRE. So I've done this presentation to them, and we're also reaching out to other brokerages, the managers of the brokerages as well. So I kind of wanted to deliver this directly to you guys and also have this available recorded on our YouTube channel. So this is really the motivation, but then we got some exciting stuff to announce. We're going to be joined by Jessica and Mark over at Ktgy in about 10 minutes or so when I get done and let them in. And they're going to now kind of announce their partnership with us, their background, and what they have as well in their R&D studio. And then finally, we're going to end with Mia sharing our new ADU reports and our partnerships there. So we're going to have a lot of information to share, but let me start off right now with our deck. So we're a startup venture from Irvine and Associates. And what I mean by that is my partner, Alex Irvine, runs Irvine and Associates. They're land use consultants in downtown. And that's where all this information comes from. So I just wanted to assure everyone that obviously he's working with developers in their entitlement cases with the city. And so this is an ongoing thing for them. And a lot of them are also ex-city planners. So that's where the information comes from. So I want to kind of alleviate a lot of doubt in why we're doing this and where we get the information. So, you know, we're a we were built for brokers. We started Brickwork to empower agents, okay? Residential and commercial alike. Obviously, there's other use cases for developers that we're seeing, architects that are signing up, investors, property owners, you name it. There are other users, but generally, or specifically, I should say, we really wanted to provide as much value to agents and brokers, okay? So our reports are meant to provide value in a lot of ways, more so than what's listed here, but essentially helping your clients that are either developers, investors, or property owners understand the development potential of your site, okay? We on the zoning, the land use side, will provide all of this. I'm going to go through a report, but it also is a prospecting tool. And what do I mean by that? If you understand the situation we're in with the pandemic, with the disruption that's happening in commercial real estate, there's a lot of redevelopment plays, adaptive reuse. So you can start conversations by pulling reports for properties that aren't even listed now and sharing and marketing them with developers. You start the conversation, they can quickly, with our reports, know what they can and can't do. And whether or not they're interested in that site, that's not the issue here, or what I'm addressing. It's really the conversation started and they could tell you, well, this is not for us, but here's exactly what we're looking for. So there you go. Then you can now hone in on those properties that they would want to build for those reasons. And our reports cover generally, and this is just some highlights, right? But we're essentially trying to screen through anything that might prevent what you think you could build on the site. That's another thing. But then, of course, we're going to give you the buy right and what you can build with density bonus programs. Now, this is based on a transaction that started with the Brickwork report. And both the buyer's agent and the listing agent are our users. So James Doherty obviously is the buyer's agent in this transaction. And you know, I just wanted to share that this started with a Brickwork report, and it was an out-of-state developer. So obviously we introduced what you can and can't do. And of course, they took it from there to actually move forward with more in-depth information. And again, we're just trying to provide the initial due diligence. We're not trying to say that with our reports, you can actually go and put an entitlement submission. No, I think you need to hire, hopefully, Alex Irvine, Irvine and Associates, to actually handle your entitlement case. But again, I think we're a valuable tool for the initial due diligence. And this was a transaction that closed, which started with Brickwork. So here are our plans. So we are month to month. I want to stress that, right? We have a novice plan where if you don't want to get charged and you just want to purchase reports when you need them, by all means, sign up. It's $50 per lot or parcel. We have the specialist and the pro that come with their own benefits, which are 5 lots for specialist, 15 lot, obviously, for pro. Again, we have the ADU massing and the reports that are going to come with specialists, but they also are for pro. But for the pro only, we have the Ktgy massing model that we're going to be announcing here soon. So just wanted to quickly go over that. Now, this is not what's on our report right now, but this is where we want to design, or the new designs are going to be kind of following this flow, right? So this is a sample address, but this is, on this one, it says it's a C2, 105 unit, potential tier 4 TOC. And if you go through this report, we're going to go through the by right development potential, the floor area ratio, the max height, the minimum setbacks. We're going to obviously provide what the parking requirements are. And then here, by right, the dwelling units was 57 units, right? Now, the development potential is that on this report or property, it's TOC tier 4, which is great, right? So you're going to get a bump up in the floor area ratio. Obviously, you're going to get benefit in the max height. Your buildable envelope, therefore, has increased, and which nets a max dwelling units of 105 units. Now, one thing I want to add on here is that this is the start. What I mean by that is, even though we're saying you could build up to 105, is that physically feasible? Probably not, right? And so that's why this partnership with Ktgy is really beneficial, is that now the architects are going to come in and they're now going to mass that to see what is physically feasible. Okay, so just wanted to kind of jump in there and stress that point. So, the affordable units is the kind of reason why TOC exists. Is the city definitely wants affordable units, and therefore it's a give and take with providing additional benefit for the developer for these sites. So you do have to provide affordable units here, and the parking requirement is here as well. So the restrictions is what I was talking about here. As you can see, for this site, there is a specific plan. There's no queue conditions. There's a delimitation. And if you go down here, what we're initially doing is screening for what those restrictions are. And whatever they are, we already calculated them in our report for by right and for the TOC. So just letting you know. And with the pro plan, if you want more clarification, if you want a copy of this specific plan that says that you can't build up to what you originally was supposed to build, sure. As a pro user, we're gonna be able to do that, this additional research for you, and you can ask questions on this report and you'll get the answers from us. Okay, so I wanted to point that out as well. And so that's essentially us, right? We provide these reports for the initial due diligence. This I'm going to tease right now, but you're going to really get explanation when we bring on Mark and Jessica. But this is kind of the massing that's available now through them, and this will go into much more detail on what's physically possible. So that was just a quick preview. I don't want to go too much in detail for that. So yeah, so we're essentially I think wanting to provide a brief overview of the reports and the use case, but what we've realized is that the number one question, or the common question that we always get, is what is Brickwork? What do you guys do, right? So that's always been the case. And I think after answering it so many times, the best and easiest way to know what we are is that we are land use reports that are much lower cost than working with the land use consultant, but obviously they're brief. They're not the full-on analysis you're going to get, but a lot of the times the brokers and developers, for the initial run through, the initial, hey, is this something for us to, research and look into deeper, get solved by us, right? And so that's really what we are in a nutshell. So, okay, with that being said, I wanted to actually, oh, we have 7 viewers. Yay. Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw the stat. Okay. Well, I wanted to then I guess make a segue now. So we're gonna wait on KTGY. They're gonna join us here shortly. I think another thing that we encountered beyond what Brickwork is, well, like I had said, the distinction between prospecting and marketing your existing property. So we have power users right now from the top brokerages that already have a lot of listings, okay? And so this is a value add where you could, obviously add this information in your marketing, package or your offering memorandum, and it will bring value. But the prospecting part is something that's not less understood. There are a few users that see the opportunity of what I mentioned, redevelopment, start conversations with developers. So even though they're a pro and they might only have 1 or 2 properties, and they're like, well, why do I need to be a pro? And what am I going to use the 15 or so or the 12 or so credits that I'm not using? Is a lot of the users are prospecting with those credits. So I think if you can identify properties in and around, because we cover LA County, and we're also going to be expanding to cover Ventura County, Orange County, and Riverside County. We're just waiting on the specific cities that get requested, and there's going to be a timeline coming here soon where we're going to announce which cities or municipalities, I should say, we're going to cover on our reports. But you can pull these reports ahead of time in very good sites, commercial C-Zone, on Wilshire, on Venice, all of these places for prospecting purposes. Will the landowner sell? We don't know, right? That's where brokers come into play. But you can send those reports in advance to developers, again, to gain interest on anything. And if they are interested on a few sites, you can then approach the ownership and obviously try to broker that deal. So we've seen it happen, and that's why we're kind of putting that out there for anybody that is questioning, what do I do with the excess credits for reports? So, okay, with that being said, I see I'm gonna bring in Jessica and Mark from KTGY. Hey guys. So just so you know, we actually did and it's on our YouTube channel, we did a kind of team happy hour. It was a joint Irvine and Brickwork kind of YouTube stream. Didn't go so well. I think we were just learning our way around live streaming, and I think we were frozen in time when I was watching it. But now we've learned, so we're not. It might be like a 1-second delay, but we're definitely streaming live right now. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, I'm super excited to announce this. Obviously this is being recorded. We're going to put this on our YouTube channel, but let's start off, Jessica, with because this is a story I've already repeated before, but when we launched the beta testing of this massing, one of the agents, I don't want to name or even the brokerage, but one of the agents was like, what is a KTGY, right? So I'm glad we are going to give opportunities for you guys to at least answer that question. So maybe if you want to start off with kind of what is KTGY?
Great, thank you. So Ktgy, so we are a national design and urban planning firm. So we're headquartered in Southern California. We were founded in 1991. Locally, we office in the Trust Building in downtown LA on Spring Street. And we're looking forward to moving back to our office soon. So our background, so we really got our start in residential home building. And then now we're designing everything from, hospitality developments in high-rise buildings. We've got a strong foothold in modular, probably the leading firm that is exploring modular in LA, and Mark Oberholzer, who's on the call, is leading most of those developments. In addition to modular, trying to be pioneers in other innovative construction methods, whether it's mass timber or light gauge proprietary steel systems, and continuing to grow into designing communities in the urban fabric. And then so we're excited about this partnership with Brickwork to speed up development, especially with residential, since we're severely lacking in residential developments in LA. And with this tool, it's a great collaboration. So hopefully we can help to vet properties a bit more quickly, and Mark will expand into the massing capabilities that we've developed to hopefully deliver more developments and more housing within the region.
Absolutely. And we're excited too. Again, I think we're so complementary. I think we start off with what you can build land use wise, but again, the next iteration to that is, well, what's physically possible, and then what's the highest ROI for that site. So yeah, so super excited. And Mark, I guess if you can now share with everyone what we have been cooking.
Yeah, and I'm super excited about it. I think that what we have in this partnership is a real kind of a quick way to assess feasibility and viability for sites. And what we're not doing is what typically happens, which is you see a site come to market, you think it might be worth looking into, you try to connect with developers, they interview 3 architects, have meetings, get proposals, weeks have gone by, and you still don't know what could fit on the site. And with the kind of speed that Brickwork can produce the zoning analysis, and the way that we have we're sort of meshing with Brick and Work to produce okay, here's what zoning lets you statutory can fit on the site, but what can you physically fit on the site? So we're overlaying things like the construction type, the site dimensions, how they affect parking stalls and parking drive aisles, and just the sort of different things that end up controlling the reality of a building you can fit on there, right? So sometimes the site is controlled by something as stupid as the parking layout. Sometimes the required open space drives the site. And so what we do all the time for developers who already have control of a site is we do something, a really detailed density study. We call it a density study or yield study, where we basically are showing how the unit mix works, how all the pieces fit together. But that's much more information than, when you're looking at a site and going, can I buy or sell this site? It's more information than you need, but you need more than just zoning says X, right? And so we're trying to kind of bridge that gap, and haven't been able to, except now in this partnership with Brick Plus Work.
Agreed. I think our first property that we were looking at that you guys were helping us with was that skinny lot in downtown, which is a perfect example. It's a parking lot. That ended up being probably the easiest one to mass, right, Mark? Because you had mentioned, well, there's also a different way to view how you mass things is what you can't do. And there's so many you can'ts on this site in particular, which means there's a property or a building next to it, so no one's going to have a view, and it's skinny, and how are you going to park it? And we probably need automated or mechanized parking on this, right? And it's got to be 100% affordable. So easy, right? But I think that highlighted, and then there's the obviously the more of the open envelope, which is, well, it's just, you know, a huge 3-5 acre site. What should we do on this? Now that's going to be way more difficult because then there aren't those restrictions and it's so open-ended and you need direction. But we solved that thanks to you guys, which is really getting from our beta test on that questionnaire where it goes, okay, well, you know, what do you guys want, to really honing in on what's really important for you as a broker. You know, are you trying to market to a specific developer that wants the most units on the site or most parking, you know, right? There's a lot of variables. I think you guys have helped extremely on that front so that we can at least give direction to our users.
Yeah, and I think there's some things like, I mean, you know, a very typical typology, you know, in LA and across the country is type 3A podium, right? 5 levels of residential, over 2 above grade levels, and maybe 1 subgrade parking. Well, if you have more, say, if you have more FAR or need a high parking ratio, you could keep going down in parking, right? But hardly anybody wants to do that because it doesn't work. You know what I mean? So you could design a building that works physically, but nobody's going to do it because it won't work financially. And, you know, we don't do pro formas, but we work with a lot of people who do pro formas. So we kind of know what is not going to work. And so just sort of innately, we're feeding that into the study as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, the experience that you guys have, all the developers and developments you guys are working on lends toward that kind of guidance on that massing. So, but you guys are, what I love about this partnership, and you guys in particular as well, is you're very forward thinking and progressive in trying to figure out lay of the land, what other solutions are out there that we can impart to ultimately just help overall housing and just moving things forward. And so, you know, got introduced to, you know, Flex Flats. So Mark, if you kind of want to discuss that, because I think for us, and for the audience and the users, what we're trying to do is figure out, or what we want to provide as value is we understand that obtaining you know, the adaptive reuse is an entitlement, right? But you do need to you know, check off on some minimum requirements. So that's in the works, and we're going to provide that because we really want to also provide, well, did you know that this site can qualify for an entitlement? Not that, you know, the developer definitely wants to do that, but I think the barrier of entry is information. So if we could provide as many options as possible, then that site might also lend toward FlexFlat. So if you want to kind of, you know, share that as well.
Yeah, sure. And this really comes out of, you know, just across different markets. I mean, we're California heavy, but we are national. And so we see lots of different trends in different markets. And sometimes we see things that push the envelope a little bit and we go, hey, what if we took that a little further? And that really was the genesis of our research and development, or R&D studio. So we take that and develop kind of on our own dime ideas that might be sort of like the next idea. So some of them include like, you know, young families living in cities, right? And you know, that's an underserved market. Everybody knows that. But what would it mean, you know, to adapt an apartment building so it's friendly to young families, right? And so we looked at that. And that's the sort of thing we're doing, looking for our clients, you know, who might not want to try things to be the first, but to really just push it a little further and see. And that's really where the Flex Flats idea came out, which is really adaptive reuse, and particularly in LA, that's a major, I mean, there's some major benefits to adaptive reuse in terms of, you know, zoning and affordability. But because of the sort of unfortunate nexus of this year of people working from home and pandemic issues, is that there's a lot of, you know, a lot of office building owners who are nervous, and I would be too, right? And we have looked in the past at how do you adapt office buildings to residential, and we've done a fair number. usually they're historic buildings. So we have one in downtown Long Beach, historic office building, beautiful from the 30s, and changed it into a memory care residential building. But modern office buildings, there's many more of those, and how could they be adapted, right? Or how could their use change long term? Not that you're flipping uses back and forth, but suppose there's a 10-year trend, decrease of office space, and you own a bunch of office buildings. So we were looking, okay, let's take a look at this, what it means, like a very generic, typical office building. And so we looked at how that could be adapted into a residential building in the same way, along the lines of a new user, a new office user moves into a building and does a TI, right? So we looked at it as, what if we do a residential TI? What would that really mean? That's the flex flats. And can I share my screen and show a couple slides?
Oh,
Is that
absolutely.
possible?
Yeah, please do. Give me 1 second. Okay, you should be able to.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I had to change that setting. So,
Okay.
yeah, while you do, like I said, I was genuinely surprised at how many different R&D concepts that you guys had cooking. And so it is, a lot of them are relevant pre-pandemic, right? Based on trends and the studies that you guys did on the usage of office, how many offices are vacant, right, and not being utilized. And so I think you had come to that determination that there are still going to be opportunities. And then the pandemic hit, and it became the ultimate disruptor that just is accelerating the need for adapting its original use to a more high ROI use. And so, I think it's been great.
And I think that, I mean, I know we're live, and so I'm having some trouble sharing the screen, but let me just describe it in words. So basically, we took a 5-story office building, 20,000 square foot floor plate, which is very typical, and said, how would we change this like a TI project, meaning without reskinning it, without changing the way that mechanical and electrical is distributed, nothing like that. And what we came up with was basically a plan that uses a mixture of deep units and shallow units to kind of maximize the residential floor plan. Because of course, an office floor plate could be like 120 feet wide, and really a typical residential is more like 68 feet wide. So we do have, and this is where we sort of, this is where it becomes a little bit of a what if. We say, well, to use the space effectively, we have to have 60-foot deep units. And if you have any experience of residential, you go, 60-foot deep units, how could that possibly work? Well, interestingly, again, with the idea of sort of some of these new trends emerging, and developers who work in urban environments already know buried bedroom units that are kind of deep on towers often, typical urban scenario. So we took that idea, but made it into a 2-bedroom where you actually have a T-shaped living room and then an office and 2 bedrooms. And the beauty of this is you use a lot of sliding walls to basically make it very flexible. So accommodates a family, check. Accommodates 2 people working from home, check. Converts back to a family apartment in the evening, check. So all of a sudden that depth becomes a program advantage, in a way that you can't adapt a 32-foot deep unit easily to. And so that's pretty exciting. And then in my mind, in 10 years, suppose in 10 years, there's a sudden demand for office building, your asset still has a lot of value. You could do another TI and it becomes an office building. And so it could affect the way that office assets are valued and looked at long term. Because right now, in the short term, they can be a liability if they're not tenanted up already. So
agreed. Yeah. And I apologize for the technical difficulties, but I'm pointing to the podcast interview I had with David Senden and Marissa Kasdan, and we were able to impart a video and all the diagrams for the flex flat.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So for everyone else, please subscribe to our YouTube channel here and watch it. So no, but I think I really wanted to thank Jessica for kind of reaching out to us, right? I think you watched one of our webinars, the CCIM one, and you saw the synergy. So I want to thank you, because I think it's really the perfect fit. I think you guys, even out of all the architectural firms out there locally, already had in mind, and again, already funding your R&D studio, because there are more uses than the typical use case, right? And I think everyone has been kind of wanting that, right? They want a different aesthetic, they want a higher value, and then they want a way to pencil projects, right? And so all of those get combined with what you.
And above all, faster, right? And that's where I think this,
Yeah.
that the sort of quick zoning analysis and the quick concept massing kind of unite to really push things forward faster. And I think we're always looking, I mean, Jessica, when she introduced us, really talked about how we're, making progress in construction innovation, modular, new mass timber, even new ways of constructing. I think that we're very aware as a firm that we need to be future looking and innovative. And that means not just construction types, but also process innovations, like the sort of zoning innovation. I know we're not supposed to use the word disruption anymore. That's kind of what you guys are doing. So we I know, but we're kind of all about that, and being on board with you guys.
Yeah, no, I think you guys have accurately solved, hopefully answered the question of what is a Ktgy. So we won't get those, but again, through this partnership and, obviously the viewers right now and everyone watching, obviously we want you to take advantage of this, in that you get a quick initial due diligence with our reports, with the concept massing, and you will see value as an agent when you present this to potential investors and developers. So, all right, with that being said, thank you guys for joining us. Jessica, if you want to have a final remark or anything.
No, thank you for having us. We're excited to have more users come on board and take advantage of this great tool.
Likewise. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you.
ADU. So let me at least set the table, which is, okay, when we launched about 1.5 years ago, we saw the need for disrupting the way information and arbitrage is in real estate development. Arbitrage meaning the people with the information and the wherewithal to move on properties did and succeeded and made money. But it wasn't fair, because we thought this information should be out to everybody. New entrants bring fresh ideas, different ways of developing, like Ktgy, like Mark had mentioned, different ways in construction and design, just penciling it with different crowdfunding methods of making that work financially. So look, we need a lot of different ideas. So that's on the commercial side. We're super excited now to not announce the ADU report, accessory dwelling unit. California has had 3, 4, 5 years of this iteration, but the problem is it's been restricted in the beginning. I think now, for the first time ever, it's the most open. I'll let Mia describe why it's so open, but it is open. But the pandemic hit, so it's kind of not been fully announced and not been fully utilized. So we want to provide the ADU reports, and we also now, like Ktgy, have partnered and continue to partner with local architects to provide the massing for that. But that's in beta phase. We want to announce more of the ADU report first, and we'll do a follow-on once we are ready to announce the massing, how it looks like. So Mia, take it away.
Yeah, this is a sample one we have for a single family lot. So essentially with the 2020 updates, even though it's zoned as a single family lot, if you were to take advantage of the ADUs, you could potentially have, 3 ADU, if you have it attached and a detached and a junior ADU, suddenly you can make a lot more sort of rent on that lot, even though it's zoned as single family. So this is our cover page. Traditionally, there would be an address here, but we've taken that off since it's a sample. And then we'll always go into what's existing there already. So if there's a primary structure that's already built, how big is it? Is there any accessory structures that are already there? How many units, the year it was built, and the improvement value as well as land value. Just so you have that information with you ready for when if you do end up, taking that to the ownership or to the broker for further conversations regarding the deal. For the single family lot, like I said, you're typically allowed now one attached, one detached, and one junior ADU. And so for this report, we also have a diagram of all the different sort of options of these ADUs, whether that's an interior conversion or converting your garage. If this was a multifamily report, you would be able to have 2 detached ADUs, as well as converting, I believe, up to 25% of non-livable floor area. So like excessive parking that was built or storage space, things like that. So if you were building a detached ADU or a new attached ADU that's not within the existing structure, you would be required to have setbacks. So we'll outline those setbacks that would be required for you on the lot. For this one, it's 4 feet. And then also if it's detached, it would need to be 10 feet away from that primary structure. And then we will also go into the maximum size you can have. So for attached ADUs on single family, it's typically 50% of that existing primary structure is for your attached ADU size. And then for detached, it's usually 1,200 square feet. And we'll also give you the height here as well as below for attached, detached, and junior ADU. And that will typically be in accordance with the zoning. But also if there was a Q condition or a delimitation that affected the height, we would incorporate that in here and that would be reflected in the height as well. And then lastly, the parking for the residential ones are usually 1 space per ADU, but there are about 5 conditions that are sort of scenarios that would exempt you from that requirement. So we go through and see if that lot would be exempt from the requirement. So for this one, it would be exempt from being having that parking space since it is within a historically significant district. And then lastly, we go into restrictions, which is similar to our main brickwork report. But that's essentially it for our single family ADU report. Like I said, our multifamily report is similar in design, but we'll go into the requirements that would be required for those ADUs for multifamily, as well as there's different sort of allowed ADUs by having like those 2 detached rather than 1 detached and things like that. And we're also excited to be soon partnering with architects, like John had said, to bring in massing for those ADUs. So if you got your ADU report and you were like, oh, this is great, and you wanted to take that a step further, you could also request a massing model, initial massing model for that too.
Great job, Mia. That's awesome. So yeah, so we're excited. This is in beta phase. I would say just give us about another week or so to announce that it's actually live. So why we're doing the beta is we're getting feedback. There's a cross section of agents that we've chosen to give us this feedback in different neighborhoods, because there are a little bit of nuances based on whether it's LA City or Santa Monica. But overall, I think it's the most open because the state rules regarding this pretty much applies everywhere, if that makes sense. There's only slight nuances based on those municipalities. So like Mia had mentioned, this is just the step 1. Step 2 is also the architects that mass it. Well, why is massing important? Well, physically, based on the structure, your home, based on the garage, is there a garage? Is there not a garage, right? Like all of these things factor into specific recommended size or square footage of the ADU. And then you might have a few options. You might have one where you could either or, where you now have to pick one ADU based on setbacks and your property, where you decide, do I do a detach or attach? Or maybe you do 2, and 2 based on the square footage is going to be attached to existing, converting, and then also the garage. So there's now a multitude of ways to get an ADU, right? And so, and one thing I want to announce is that I just got off a meeting with the founder of Boxable, right? And so that's going to be exciting because they provide out of the box, built outside, delivered to you, a junior suite, a 400 square foot livable space for $50,000. That's insane. That's incredible, right, Mia? Like, I think I showed you that earlier.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the ADU, there's a lot of options for ADUs, but most of the quotes that we've seen that other people are providing are going to be well over 100,000. Maybe a few are at 70 or 80,000, but more often than not, it's over 100,000. So something that comes into this at 50 is definitely a game changer, and we're going to feature that vendor in a lot of these reports as well. So you'll get the contact information for them, and then you could take it from there. But again, as you can see, the ADUs are exciting because there's way more single families than commercial opportunities for multifamily. And this is a way to get 1, 2, 3 extra housing units quickly, right? Very quickly. So we're excited to announce this beta phase. We'll launch this hopefully here in a week or two, make it live, so every user gets access to this. The massing is the only nuance I want to cover again, is the massing is only for our paid subscribers. The specialists will get the ADU, and then the pros will actually also get ADU, but only get the KTGY because that is a subscription plan that we've specifically created for commercial agents that want that massing, but then it's also open to any agent that wants multiple ADU reports as well. So you can use that as you will, but just want to clarify that. So yeah, I think
We do have one question.
I'm excited. I think we need to keep doing this so that maybe we could tap into 100 live users. I know we had close to that during CCIM's webinar. That was super cool. But obviously they're a national, membership program, and they have there's already in part members for that. So that's probably how they got that viewers. But yeah, if you could read the question, yeah, that'd be great.
Of course. So from Christopher, we have, how much is a report like this? Do you guys offer membership subscriptions and to provide the reports for clients during meetings?
Yeah, great question, Christopher. So our subscription plans, let me share my screen, and or if you can make me host again, we're just flipping. Yeah, because what I want to do is go back into our subscription plans. I think I just quickly went over them, and then and this time around, what I'm going to do is I want to be able to answer that. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let me share this. Okay, so for everyone, the subscription plans are that report that you saw, whether it's for mixed use, commercial, multifamily, or the ADU, is going to be $50 per lot or parcel. Why we designated that? Because a lot of the mixed use, multifamily, commercial use is assemblages, where they assemble multiple lots, right? So it's not typically just one lot. It will be 2, 3, 4, 5, and on lots that get lot tied for one specific use case or purpose or development. So that's what that is. But for the ADUs, if you want to just be a free user month to month, by all means, it's $50 for that report. Now, my recommendation, though, is you're going to get way more bang for your buck, obviously, with our specialist plan, where you get 5 of these. So if you pay a la carte or just directly for those, that's $250, but you get that at 100, and you get access to our massing. So I think that's probably a better. And so again, you get 5 lots for the specialist, and then you get 15 lots for the pro. The difference I have to again stress is for the pro plans, we do provide an additional add-on or benefit, which is we provide additional research and questions. So I got to tell you, one of our users, our earliest adopter, has even today scheduled a call as an agent or a broker on a property of his, a listing. There was a developer that was interested, that had way more questions, right, about that site. And I think we realized Why? It's because it's in between the TLC Tier 2 and Tier 3. The final designation being LA Planning will determine which it will fall under, but we took more of a conservative route and said, well, we'll adjust it to Tier 2. The clarification has to be to the city, which I think they physically measure it, right? They determine where the interest is. So that's on the city. We can't take it to that level, but we were able to, or they were able to get our team member Tucker on a conference call with the developer to start answering questions and clarify. That is available for our pro subscribers. So again, way we do that is because if you did that with any land use consultant with Alex's team, retainer, 300 an hour, not 250 a month. So you got to understand that that brings a lot of value. Okay, great. Well, look, Mia, successful. High five to actual live that went through. I think we want to do more of these. I really think if we can make this more commonplace or just scheduled, that more people will be aware and be able to watch this. So I think for the audience, we're starting in 2021, new year, rollout of vaccine, and then being live YouTube webinars or announcements will happen more regularly next year. So I'm excited for that. But anything we should share that I'm forgetting, Mia, because I typically...
We do have one more question from Sarah.
Oh, yes, I'm excited. Yeah.
So is there a pricing for the massing studies without the monthly subscription?
Yeah, you know, we have to tie it with this, Sam, because this is a loss leader for the architects. They're, you know, I keep talking about working with a land use consultant, 2,000 retainer, 300 an hour. But these massing models, obviously, you're going to get a more extensive massing model, a site plan. You know, they're going to be way more detailed, and of course, you're going to. There's a reason for that because you're actually building that project, so you need to know in intimate detail how it's going to be designed and all that. But let's just say that's minimum 5,000 and it goes up to 50,000. These KTGY concept massing reports, I'm so sorry, we were kind of we weren't finalized on the price, so that's why it says 250 on here, but we decided to even drop it further. We are delivering these at 200. So that is a loss for KTGY. Why are they doing this? Is because we feel that if we could get the information out of what is a KTGY first off, right? But then the value that this brings to our users, then we have to bring the price down. But you're saying this a la carte without the subscription. Yeah, that again, they don't have any pricing model of doing this unless you go in for the full massing, because they don't have the bandwidth to be able to do these at scale. So in this partnership, why we're doing this is because they don't have to do any land use research. We do that. Brickwork, hi, we're the ones that do the land use reports, right? So it saves them time, but then also if there's this synergy or partnership, we're trying to also provide their R&D concepts. So Sam, if you have a listing that's a office building that is struggling, maybe that specific demographic or region where it's located might be better off adaptive reuse. Well, guess what? We can provide you the Brickwork report. We'll soon be coming with what the minimum requirements are to apply for that entitlement. And then, you know, maybe this flex flats concept might be the right fit or an adjustment of that, because KTGY can adjust based on your or the office building. It's not set designs, but it's just an ability or a way to look at it. So the combination of the two will be super valuable. So you do need both.
And we do have a last question from Christopher again.
Mm-hmm.
We provide a cost analysis report to bring paper lots to finished lots.
You know, that's a good point. So we are, again, we started off with Brickwork land use reports. Now we're bringing together architects massing in. The next phase or step, if you watch, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I keep doing plugs to this thing, right? I think this was intentional, so I could just point like this, right? So I did a podcast interview with Top Shelf Models. It's not that type of models, it's financial models, right? So they're based out of Austin, Texas. They provide financial modeling for institutions, REITs, developers, everyone. So they're a very solid company. We're in early talks to provide their modeling down to our users. So stay tuned. We're in early talks. So what we realize also is that the financial modeling for the developers are very unique to them, and they want to stick with that because they have their own data of what was built, what didn't work out so well, what were cost overruns, and of course they've adjusted their modeling to that, right? Rightfully so. But our financial calculator that we have on our reports is very generic. So we wanted to meet in the middle. We think there is a way that they can help us provide a little bit more clarity in the cost analysis, right? To see if this could pencil, and it could be a value add to the developer. Or if we have developers that are open to seeing newer ways to financially model a project or a joint venture, they then would step in and provide those type of reports as well. So we wanted to make that connection. So to answer your question, next year, we're hoping sometime in January, we could start the early release of that. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you for the few that have joined. I'm super excited, hopefully to see you guys as users. Reach out to me. You could reach out to John at brickwork.la, Mia at brickwork.la, or contact, but definitely go on our website. You could contact any of us to sign up and get a preview of these reports. And then if you find value, I think it is a great tool that, I hate to say this, but a lot of your fellow commercial agents, especially the top producers out there, are already our users. Okay, so that should be validation enough that it provides them value. But the thing is, they're not sharing that with you necessarily, right? So we have to be the ones going out here and letting you guys know. So a lot of the top agents and teams already saw value in this. So they're pulling reports every month, right, Mia? We get requests all the time, and it's only increased post-pandemic. So just wanted to get this message out to every, even new broker. So, you know, if you're an agent 2-3 years in, this puts you on a level playing field with established contacts and agents. Why? Because, you know, in commercial space, it's the value of data and correct information outweighs relationship, I think, right? Especially in development. It's all about making sure that the information is correct. So this is a tool for the newer agents, even retail-only agents. We've seen a lot of retail-only agents being disrupted by the pandemic, and now with our reports and with our research, able to step into this world, which is selling assemblages to developers and redevelopment and all of this stuff. So yeah, I don't know how many ways I could say this, but this was built for agents and brokers. You guys should capitalize and maximize use of this. All right, with that being said, thank you, Mia.